Hello, everyone. Today I will review the journey of a Norwegian guy Jonas building a beautiful traditional fish house in the middle of white snow. Jonas carefully chooses the location for his project. With a shovel in hand, he begins to clear the first piles of snow, laying the groundwork for what's to come. Next, he starts digging into the frozen soil to create the house's foundation. Each motion is steady and deliberate, showing his determination despite the cold. Using a leveling tool, Jonas checks if the ground is even. Precision is key, and he's clearly no stranger to hard work. With the foundation leveled, Jonas begins digging deeper. Meanwhile, the wind whispers through the trees, and gentle river waves lap quietly at the shore beside him. Fatigue sets in. Jonas takes a break, sitting on a wooden stool, and pours himself a warm drink coffee from a handmade wooden cup. He gazes out over the peaceful river, gathering strength. Using a leveling tool, Jonas checks if the ground is even. Precision is key, and he's clearly no stranger to hard work. Just as he's hammering, the head of the tool slips off. There's a flicker of disappointment on his face, but he quickly fixes it and continues undeterred. Now, Jonas moves to measuring and cutting wood with meticulous care. He drills the first screws to begin shaping the house's frame. Carrying the prepared wooden boards, he gently lowers them into position, stacking and aligning them with precision. Piece by piece, he assembles the wooden frame over the foundation, ensuring it's stable and symmetrical. To lift the steel slightly, Jonas uses plastic pads, adjusting them with care to ensure balance and strength. Finally, short wooden beams are added and screwed into place to secure the base structure. Every move he makes reflects patience, skill, and a deep respect for traditional craftsmanship. Jonas continued with the foundation reinforcement. He cut the iron bars and bent them into perfect right angles. Each bar was securely fastened to the corners of the foundation in a moment. All 4 corners were completed, forming a solid foundation frame. Then Jonas prepared a black plastic bucket and a coil of water hose. He went up to the source and connected the hose to bring the water back. Finally, the bucket was filled with water, a small but necessary feat in the open. Without a long rest, he used a wheelbarrow to scoop up gravel from a tricycle that had been brought back earlier. He poured the first layer of gravel onto the carpeted floor, working very quickly and evenly, and it was done in a flash. Jonas started the concrete mixer, poured water, poured cement, and began mixing. Buckets of gravel were added to the mixer, creating a complete concrete mixture. He poured the first buckets of mortar into the foundation frame, then used a trowel to smooth out every corner until it was firm and smooth. Without stopping, Jonas finished pouring the entire foundation concrete, leveling it with his trowel with his usual care. He used a large wooden stick to smooth the surface. Finally, the foundation was ready. The next morning, he gently sprinkled water on the concrete to keep it moist and help it dry evenly. Given the forecast of a sunny day, Jonas decided to put the newly cast bricks out to dry. Meanwhile, a few small boats glided by on the calm river. He placed the first pillar brick precisely in place. He used a level to check the accuracy of the brick. Jonas prepared a new mortar mixture, poured cement into a bucket, added water, stirred well, and poured it into the pillar base. He checked again with the hydraulic level to make sure it was secure. On the third day, Jonas removed the wooden molds around the foundation. Some places were uneven, there were gaps. He fixed them by tying the iron bars back together and continuing to pour mortar into the pillars. Each pillar had 4 stepping stones, with the U-shaped iron bar with screw holes on top. He adjusted each detail carefully. Then Jonas stretched out a string to make the first wall straight. In the middle of the work, a white puppy suddenly appeared in front of the camera, an unexpectedly cute moment. Each brick was placed quickly and decisively, like a skilled worker. He worked very meticulously, each seam and each layer. From afar, you can see him working tirelessly. In the distance, his boat is drifting out into the middle of the river. Luckily, he has tied it securely. He drills and places U-shaped iron bars into the pre-positioned holes. The hollow part of the brick is filled with small pebbles, and he doesn't forget to use a broom to sweep away the dust to make the surface clean. The next step is to remove the clamps, then start plastering the wall. Jonas's every move is very professional and neat, creating even and beautiful plastered walls. Wall by wall is completed. A rough space is gradually transforming into a solid traditional house in the middle of wild nature. It suddenly started to rain sporadically, so he quickly pulled the mixer into a dry place for storage. Immediately after that, he took out the wooden bars, measured and cut them very carefully. Each cut was precise. Only now did I understand. The round holes on the U-shaped iron bars actually served as extremely convenient fixing screws. A long wooden bar, which seemed to be used as a crossbar, was carefully measured and cut to the correct size. He carried the crossbar and placed it in the correct position on the columns, then used a screwdriver to secure it firmly. Each column was connected to the crossbar, alternating with the sound of hammers hammering nails regularly. He started installing the wooden linings both for decoration and to reinforce the columns. The linings were installed in the necessary positions one by one. He also carefully arranged each detail according to the design drawing, ensuring everything matched properly. Next, he joined the wooden boards and used nails as long as shark teeth. Perhaps this was the stage of building the roof. He was truly a multi-talented person, working like a professional carpenter, measuring, drawing, and constructing with extreme precision. He carefully put the wooden boards into the cutting machine, cutting along the pre-marked lines. Entering the stage of making the dome, the curved logs begin to take shape. In the distance, a black dog appears, as if watching him work. One side of the dome is complete, and he quickly completes the second part of the dome. Working alone, with no one to hold it, the dome suddenly falls and hits him. Luckily, he is not injured. Finally, he put all the domes in place and completed this important step. He uses a cutter to trim off the excess wood neatly. Next is the cutting of the bars to place on the roof. He measured every detail very carefully before cutting. He installed the first horizontal wooden bar and screwed it firmly. He quickly completed the remaining bars. Now that the roof was secure, he could climb up and screw the rafters easily. He started installing the front door bar for the house. Each screw was carefully screwed into the pre-drilled holes. He tested to see if the house was sturdy, and indeed, it was sturdy. At another corner, he tried to push with force, although the roof moved a little, but it did not cause much impact. He continued to draw and cut along the pre-marked lines. Then fixed everything in the right position, ensuring stability. The remaining parts were completed very quickly. He worked extremely professionally and quickly. Here, he stood in a corner of the house, used all his strength to push up the roof. The house did not budge at all, showing its solidity. The manufacturer's ink marks on the wood were cleaned with the machine, a small detail, but showing meticulousness in every step. This is the stage of painting the wood. He carefully lined the wall to avoid getting paint on the house wall. The paint color chosen is black, making the columns look like ebony, both luxurious and classic. He meticulously painted every detail, not missing a single corner. In the distance, the landscape appeared as beautiful as a painting, a towering mountain that looked like Fuji. Below was a river bustling with boats passing by. He took out the wooden bars he had prepared in advance, used to make the ceiling of the house. Each wooden bar was measured and cut precisely. He opened the can of clear paint to polish the ceiling, which both increased durability and made the ceiling shine beautifully. Right after finishing the paint, he started to roof. However, the weather did not seem to be on his side. Light raindrops began to fall. He patiently assembled each board. Finally, the wooden ceiling was completed. The roof was considered finished. He started to remove the temporary plastic sheets that had been placed before. He observed and took some more small wooden bars to screw the ceiling to prepare for the corrugated iron roof. Although he was quite satisfied with the initial results, he discovered that the space inside the house still lacked light. Immediately, he came up with a creative idea. He measured and drilled round holes in the ceiling to install the lights. Next, he began threading the wires through each hole. Connecting the plugs and switches was quick and neat. The view outside was stunning. The orange boat glided across the calm lake. Meanwhile, he was still diligently connecting the last string of light bulbs. He turned on the switch to check all the bulbs were sparklingly lit. Immediately after that, he began cutting corrugated iron to prepare for the roof to protect against the rain. The first sheet of corrugated iron was fixed by him. He used a ladder to climb up to the roof, screwing each screw even though it was drizzling. Finally, the corrugated iron roof was completed, ensuring it was dry and durable. He continued to take a piece of wood, chiseling it into evenly spaced round holes. Then, he cut the wood into small U-shaped pieces and brought it into the lovely little house. Can you guess what he was doing? He installed each U-shaped piece of wood onto the floor, working continuously until the whole thing was completed. After finishing, he sat down on a wooden chair, poured himself a glass of iced coffee, and sipped it to relax. While enjoying his coffee, he still did not forget his work, meticulously peeling off the bark of the round wooden bars. He brought the wood down to the fish house to continue the construction. Each wooden bar was cut short, cleaned, and prepared for the next assembly step. He gathered the cut wooden bars and carefully placed them on the pre-installed U-shaped points. One by one, all the wood was installed in the right position. He went to the middle of the house, carefully used a ruler to measure and calculate each parameter. Finally, he pushed the wheelbarrow to carry gravel to prepare for the house foundation, the final structural part of the project. Jonas quickly filled the gravel layer and leveled the ground evenly, creating a solid foundation for the fish house. He continued to scrape the rough areas to make the gravel surface smoother and flatter. He carefully drilled holes and applied glue to each drilled position, preparing for the next steps of attachment. He skillfully decorated the wooden fish in the corners of the house, bringing both traditional elements and highlighting the rustic look of the Nordic wooden house. He moved on to making the brackets, carefully fixing each joint to ensure stability. It was time to make the main door. He chose the right location, pulled up a chair in front of the house, and carefully observed the design in the notebook. Jonas began shaping the door according to the pre-drawn design. He worked diligently like a hard-working bee, without stopping. Just a moment later, he used a long wooden bar to divide the door in half, then used a machine to cut precisely along that line. Jonas took out black paint to paint the entire door, creating a striking color on the raw wood background. There is a decorative detail that looks very much like an oar, making the viewer curious. He pours some oil on the dry roots and carefully wipes the two oar-like details. As expected, they are two real oars. And then, it turns out that Jonas has fooled us all. What he thought were oars turned out to be doorknobs taken from an old boat, an idea that is both creative and very Norwegian. After finishing everything, he starts to install the door to the house, concluding a meticulous and inspiring construction phase. In the blink of an eye, he installed 2 sturdy wooden doors, completing the facade of the small house in the snow. Not stopping there, he started designing a handmade door lock from a piece of wood. Simple, yet rustic and elegant, very beautiful. He continued to screw 2 metal hooks onto both sides of the porch. Then, he took out his notebook to take notes, preparing for the idea of making 2 lanterns to hang in front of the door. From small round wooden bars, he assembled them into a small, pretty frame, and placed a glowing circle in the middle, looking like a sparkling night pearl in the dark. Carefully sanding the details, he created an extremely adorable little house to place the glowing gem inside. Antique and mysterious look for this handmade lamp. The lovely lantern was finally completed and hung in the right position prepared in front of the house. After finishing the work, he opened the door, entered the house, changed his boots, and prepared to go fishing with the fishing rod and bucket in hand. He untied the boat from the stake, pulled the boat close to the water's edge, carefully put on his life jacket, and quickly climbed in to start his fishing journey. The boat started the engine and gently cut through the waves to the lake surface, starting the first fishing trip from the newly completed fish house. Once there, he began to drop his net into the water, waiting for the first bites. Soon, a good signal came from the water. The fish were biting. In a short time, he had caught many fresh fish. The journey ended, and he returned home with a bucket full of fish, gutted and ready for eating. He carefully cleaned the fish, put them back in the bucket, and carried them into the fish house he had built with all his heart and soul. Finally, he turned on the light switch, opened the door, and entered the house, closing a day full of labor, but also filled with creativity and He sets a wooden beam across the structure, hangs the skewered fish one by one, letting them dry slowly in the air. Traditional stockfish making in progress. Inside the fish house, Jonas has even prepared a coffee machine. He flips the switch and waits, then sits by the doorway, enjoying a hot cup of coffee, savoring the warmth after a day of hard work. And with that peaceful moment, the video comes to a close. Jonas's traditional fish house is now complete, functional, and full of rustic charm. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to watch the next interesting videos.